promised not to leave her, said I'll never disappear. She knows I'll come back someday. Crying in the bathroom as the mirror disappears, holding on to fading moments. Oh mama, I think I did it again. I got lost in the wind again. Oh mama, I think I did it again. I got lost in the wind again. No, I'll never leave you heartless, heartless. Never leave you standing in the darkness.
Hello and welcome back to Bookmark Chronicles. Today I'm doing my August wrap up. I actually ended up reading a pretty decent amount this month, more than I typically do, so let's get into it. The first book that I read this month was We Free the Stars. This is the second book in the Sands of Arabia duology by Hafsa Faisal. The first book is We Hunt the Flame. I can't say too much about the second one, obviously, for spoiler reasons, but if you're unfamiliar with We Hunt the Flame, it's about a young girl named Zafira who is known as the Hunter, but very few people actually know her identity. She gets sent on a mission to find an ancient book that could restore magic to her land. There's also another character who's been sent on the same mission. He is known as the Prince of Death and is told to stop Zafira. So we follow them from there, romance ensues, and it was a really good time. I really enjoyed both books. I enjoyed We Hunt the Flame more than We Free the Stars. There were some character things that were happening that I didn't love and some tropes that I'm not a huge fan of. But overall, I really enjoyed both of them. I have full reviews of both on my channel if you're interested, and I do recommend them. They were both pretty good. The next book that I attempted to read is Call Me Maybe by Cara Bastone. I was listening to the audiobook of this. It's an Audible original, but I ended up DNFing. It's about this girl named Vera who is having tech trouble with her website, and so she calls an IT helpline, and she and the tech guy end up falling in love or something. I don't really know. I never finished it. I don't know if I disliked Vera as a character or if I did not like her narrator. Either way, I just couldn't push through, so that one didn't work out for me. So right after attempting to listen to Call Me Maybe, I was planning on canceling my Audible subscription, but then I saw The AI Who Loved Me by Alyssa Cole, so I ended up reading that and then canceling my subscription. In this, we're following a woman who works at this really high-tech company, and she's recovering from some sort of accident. When we first start the book, we don't really know what happened. But her next door neighbor, who is an AI, she ends up forming a relationship with, and this book surprised me. I did not expect to enjoy it as much as I did. As you all know, I did recently read Alyssa Cole's Reluctant Royal series, so I've been trying to see what other things she has out there. And I don't know if I was conflicted in, do I want this woman to fuck this robot, or if I just thought it was weird, which it kind of is and still feel that way. But I actually really enjoyed this. I ended up rating it 4 stars. It was a really good read, and the audiobook, it's exclusive to Audible. So if you're interested in the audiobook, you have to have Audible. So I talked in a previous video about how much I enjoy Audible originals because they're just really unique. This one has a full cast, including Regina Hall and Mindy Kaling, and I really enjoyed that. But then after I read that, I used up the rest of my credits and canceled my subscription. The next book that I read was Pride by Evie Zaboy. This is a modern reimagining of Pride and Prejudice, which I still enjoy Pride and Prejudice. I will admit that reading it is boring as hell, but the 2005 movie with Keira Knightley and Matthew McFadden is beautiful, and I love it so much. But this book was a gift from Jashana, and then Robin picked it for my TBR this month, and it was really good. I really enjoyed it. Most of you know that I am pretty skeptical of YA romances just because teenagers doing dumb shit, and everybody's like, but they're teenagers, and I'm like, being young and being dumb are not synonymous, but okay. And so there was a little, why are you doing that? Why are you being annoying right now? This is completely unnecessary, but overall it was really good. I love the way that elements of the original story were woven into this. And it was a good time. I ended up rating it 4.5 stars, and if you are a fan of Pride and Prejudice, I highly recommend this. The next book that I read was Sticks and Stones by Santana Blair. This is another reimagining of Pride and Prejudice. Santana and I follow each other on TikTok, and she was asking for romance book talkers, so I filled out her form and she sent me a copy. This was also very good. I rated it 4 stars, and even when the characters were doing things that I didn't necessarily agree with or that I thought were like unnecessary reactions and just sort of for the sake of conflict, I still could not put this book down. Santana's writing is so beautiful and lyrical, and honestly, I think she could write about something that I really don't care about, but I would still be intrigued simply because of the way she writes. So again, if you're a fan of Pride and Prejudice, if you're a fan of Pride, you should definitely pick this one up. Again, 4 stars, highly recommend. The next book that I read was The Echo Wife. This was a 5-star prediction and the book that Dasha picked for me to read this month. This is about a woman who is making groundbreaking discoveries in research. Essentially, she and her assistant have been successful in creating clones. A clone of her is, for some reason, married to her ex-husband, and then the husband ends up dead. I had such high hopes for this. It sounded so good. I thought it was gonna be some, you know, crazy ass Lifetime shit, and it was awful. I hated every second of it. I do have a full drunk book review of this on my channel, and I rated it 1.5 stars. The only reason that I got the half is because there were some good plot twists along the way, and I'm a sucker for a good plot twist. Otherwise, I really don't recommend it. Maybe if you're into sciencey things, the cloning part will be interesting for you. I hated the main character. I didn't like the clone, and the husband's piece of shit. So, yeah. After that, I attempted to reread Shatter Me by Sahara Mafi. I think I made it 2 chapters in before I DNF'd. Goodness, the writing, Juliet's annoying. It just didn't work out for me. I had originally read the first 3 in the trilogy, and then when I saw that the trilogy was being extended, I started buying those, so I had up to book 5. But then I was like, you know what, let me reread this and see if I even want to keep going. I did not. If you're unfamiliar with Shatter Me, it is about a young girl named Juliet who is locked away in solitary confinement because she has the ability to kill people by touching them. And so we pick up with her. I believe she's been in captivity for about a year, and we start following her journey from there. Anything else, I honestly don't remember. Like I said, I didn't make it past chapter 2. And luckily, the entire series I sold on my Pango bookshop. So thank you to those 2 people that bought all those books, because I am glad to be rid of them. The next book that I read was Hair Love by Matthew A. Cherry. This was such a good read. If you don't already know, I'm working on building a library of Black literature for my job, and so we have an Amazon wish list, and my dad's girlfriend actually ended up buying the book, but when it arrived, I immediately sat down to read it because it's one that I've been wanting to read for a while. I actually hadn't watched the animated cartoon up to that point, but I'm really glad that we have it. It is such a cute little read. It's just like the perfect book for little brown and black girls and boys to read who have long hair and don't really understand yet how amazing their hair is. And it's just so cute. I rated it 5 stars. If you haven't read it, I highly recommend it. I know it's a children's book, but I don't care. It's still good. The next book that I read was The Couple Next Door. This book was sent to me by Robin, and Robin has almost redeemed herself for that Throne of Glass fiasco with this one. This was so good. I ended up rating this 4.75 stars. It's about a couple who leaves their baby girl home alone to go to a dinner party that's right next door. They're checking on her every half hour, but when they come home from the party, the baby's gone. And so it spirals into this investigation about where she could possibly be, who could have possibly taken her, how, and all this other stuff. I will say I did predict what happened, because when I started reading it, it reminded me of a movie. I don't want to say the name of the movie because I don't want to give it away. If you've seen the movie, then you're going to understand what happened. But I really enjoyed this. It's like a Lifetime movie. Y'all know I'm trash for Lifetime movies. They're trash, I'm trash. It's all trash. But it was so entertaining, and there were so many plot twists along the way. As I said, I am a sucker for a good plot twist. Some of them I was able to predict, some of them I was not, but overall, it was just a really fun ride. Highly recommend this, and I am ready to read everything else that she has written. This book came out in 2016, I think, and she has basically 1 book a year that she's been releasing, so I definitely want to read all of those. The next book that I read was The Deep by River Solomon. I listened to this on audio. I used one of my Audible credits for this because I kept hearing great things about it. and it's narrated by David Diggs, so I love that. This story was so good. It's about these water-dwelling people who are the descendants of African slaves who were thrown overboard while pregnant, and the history of these people and how they came to be and their connections. It's such a great story, and it was really moving. I rated it 4.5 stars. The only reason that I didn't give it 5 stars is because there was a romance and I was a little thrown off by that. Like, it was the last thing that I expected to happen. And I wouldn't necessarily say that it felt out of place. It did bring up a really great conversation about gender, but it did still feel kind of weird and out of nowhere. So that's the only reason, but highly recommend. And if you can listen to the audiobook, please do, because David Diggs does such a great job. And the last book that I read was Women, Race, and Class by Angela Davis. I read this because I will be a guest host on Rachel's Feminist AF Book Club on September 11th, I believe. I think that was the date. I think that's the date we decided on. Another date didn't work because I was working a wedding. But I haven't read a lot of nonfiction this year, and I did actually end up enjoying this. There were some times where it just got like really tedious and, you know, reliving the past trauma of women in America, particularly Black women. But I did tab it up a lot. I don't know if you can really see it. I'm really excited for our discussion. I think it's gonna be great. Sorry about the sound. I swear my neighbor is always doing something in his garage. But anyway, this is really good. I mean, it's Angela Davis. It's everything that you would expect. Not a lot that you can disagree with here. Like, it's literal facts and recounts of history. A lot of red flags. Like literal red flags, just things that people believe that are ridiculously stupid. And then Blue, I have a lot of those as well. Those are just like important bits of information that I didn't know, or like historical figures that I had never heard of, because the American education system sucks. But if you're into nonfiction, I highly recommend this, and I will keep you posted on the details of the live show. I'm just gonna go ahead and wrap this up. That's everything that I read in the month of August. Let me know if any of these are on your TBR or if you have read them already. Otherwise, that's all I have for you today, and I'll see you in the next video.